right, crew, you know what to do. Let's get excited for the first day of the 4 days of Facebook. Excellent. I am so glad that you are as excited as I am to start this very first day of these 4 days of Facebook. So the interesting thing about this event is it's actually a global event, but we're doing it a global event while we're sitting here in Cambridge, which is really interesting. So this digital event, we're trying to reach as far as we can. So those of you that are watching on Facebook right now, in the comments below, please toss in what area you're calling in from, what country you're calling in from, city, state, whatever it may be. We want to see how far we have reached all of you. So this event, we're going to be streaming all week about social media and how social media is impacting the small and medium business space. We're going to be starting to talk about some of the new tactics, some of the new trends in video, and of course, this event is also named the 4 days of Facebook. So we're going to be talking a lot about how Facebook is really transforming their platform to be able to enable small and medium-sized business owners to transform their business, things like video, Messenger. I'm also privileged and honored to be hosting the very first day with our 3 panelists. So I'm very, very excited to be able to talk and pick their brains. Each one comes from a unique walk of life here on Facebook and in social media. So I know you didn't come to this first 45 minutes worth of the 4 days of Facebook to talk to me at all. You came to talk to these folks here to my left. So I'm going to turn things over to them and let them introduce themselves.
Hi guys, I'm Daria. I am the PM for all things social here at HubSpot. Previously, I worked as a PM at eBay and also at LinkedIn. At some point, I even tried to reinvent cooking and reinvent the cookbook on the iPad. And if I'm not conducting some sort of product orchestra, I'm probably in labor, so.
I definitely can't say that.
We technically have 4 panelists with us right now. I don't know if you can tell.
Doug Weiss, I'm on the product partnerships team at Facebook. So I actually manage a team that looks at all the different partnerships we can make to help build out the capabilities for some of our ad products that are designed for our non-digital native clients. So types of businesses that are in B2B, that are in automotive, that are in professional services, that are in retail. Really companies that traditionally have not been as present on Facebook, but that we really think can leverage Facebook in a lot of great ways, especially with the partnerships that we're building. Previous to Facebook, I spent a lot of my career either in management strategy consulting or working at startups. And if I'm not working, I do like to do a lot of travel, which is a lot easier when it's just me.
Awesome. Hey guys, my name is Ryan Benici. I'm on the marketing team here at HubSpot, focusing on social and PR and campaigns. So a lot of what I'm doing and my team's doing is trying to work out how your wondrous algorithm works, which hopefully we get to have a little chat afterwards, I think. But in my previous life, I was head of marketing at Salesforce and have worked in a lot of the marketing automation and tech space. So love this space, love the social media platforms, and yeah, I'm kind of excited to talk more about it all.
I'm excited just to watch you guys geek out about one another and totally just like nerd out about all things Facebook. So let's just dive right in. So Daria, we'll kick things off with you. In the last few years, Facebook has really been like on a legitimate roll. Instagram has been like a somewhat of a success, kind of, sort of, and it's been a grand slam. Messenger is now just like blowing up left, right, and center. So like, what is your take on Facebook right now?
I mean, obviously Facebook's blowing up. But the thing that we don't talk about is that Facebook has been successful because they've failed so frequently too. So like, how many of you guys remember that Facebook actually launched a Groupon competitor, virtual currency, I think a phone in there at some point. So I think the whole point is that Facebook's done really, really well because they've been able to iterate so quickly. So being able to say, hey, let's go launch this feature, let's go launch this product, let's see how it goes, let's measure it. I know that you guys are so analytics heavy on the way that you approach product. And if it's not working, pull the plug and use those resources on something else. And so that allows you guys to iterate really really quickly and do very well. But frankly, if I knew the secret to their success, then I'd be on a beach somewhere. I mean, just saying.
We'd all be basking in the Mediterranean sun right now if we knew what the secrets were, of course. Excellent. So if I'm understanding you correctly, really Facebook's success has just been like, move on, next play, and let's double down on the things that are working really well for our business. Did I get that right, Doug?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. I think one of the things that I've been struck by since when I first started at Facebook is this ability to want to test things out, even though we're now touching almost 2 billion people a month, where even though, obviously we've had a lot of success, as you were saying, that, we've had just as many failures, and it's this ability to, again, test things, try things out, and really respond to the data. And one of the things I think Facebook does really fast is this whole idea of moving fast. And that's one of the really great things that we love about working with HubSpot is that you guys kind of match our speed. A lot of the partnerships that we do, we want to try to build out new products. We want to be able to leverage the capabilities that other companies have had. But because of the speed or because of other priorities, they haven't been able to really work with us and try to figure out what actually is bringing the most value for our mutual clients. And that's a great thing that, why we are here today and here for 4 days rather, to actually really kind of talk about this great partnership that we've really kind of doubled down on in the last year and a half, because it is such a great, I think, merging of core capabilities. And you guys seem to have a very similar type of culture of wanting to try a lot of things out and really not be too invested in one thing that you're not willing to pull the plug if it's not working or double down if it is.
Really, really. You glazed over the stat, just like mind-blowing statistic. Can you say that again a little bit more slowly?
Yeah, so I believe, and actually someone in PR legal is going to kill me for not knowing the specific number, but I think it's like 1.93 billion people are now on Facebook every month, which is, it's kind of crazy where you just kind of get a little bit numb to these numbers working at Facebook, which is probably like a very arrogant and douchey thing to say, but I promise I don't mean it in that fashion, where just because of the many different ways that clients and consumers are being able to leverage our platform, we've been able to touch a lot of different businesses as well as consumers kind of all around the world. And again, you mentioned earlier when we were first starting that this is a global event. And that's another reason that we really like working with you guys is that you guys are also expanding in a very fast fashion where you're able to also think about how you can have the same core capabilities, but then also make sure that you're able to be using it not only in the US, but in kind of markets all around the world.
I'm curious around like that billion number. Obviously Messenger's growing incredibly fast and there's a bunch of different products within the core Facebook app. But speaking of like the global, spectrum of this event, how do you find like the different countries and regions are using Facebook? I'm from Australia, so I know in Asia, obviously messaging is huge, but curious like which kind of apps are growing the fastest in which regions, if you have any insight there?
Well, it's really interesting because I think, as you were mentioning before, one of the things that we are also trying to do at Facebook is also learn from some of the, the different regions that, are not where we are at headquarters, where I think, as you said, messaging is something that we've seen also obviously blow up in, in APAC and Southeast Asia especially, where you see this kind of movement from people who had been spending a lot of time on social networks actually moving over to messenger type products. And so, that's something that we expect to really actually, and you already see evolving kind of on a lot of different other regions of the world. And again, I think that's one of the strengths of Facebook is that we are very aware of not only what's happening in the US, but really responding to the things that are happening in other markets. But I guess to answer to your question, the interesting thing is like, yes, there are definitely differences, but this idea of wanting to connect with other people and to connect with businesses is really kind of not that different all around the world. That's something that we see increasingly. People are changing how they interact with businesses and how they interact with other people all around the world. And again, this is why we love building out these partnerships so that not only are we trying to do it ourselves, but we're actually trying to learn from the things that our partners are bringing to the table as well.
Got it.
So I'm super curious. There has to be some sort of intersectionality between the fact that people are using Messenger and that basically 80% of all social media usage is done via mobile these days. I'm sure we haven't bored some of you to tears. Some of you are still watching and not on your mobile phones. Yeah, sort of. So Daria, so what does this mobile future mean for social media and for how marketers should react to that?
Yeah, so if you think about mobile, you have this much screen real estate as opposed to like this much screen real estate. So people are inherently impatient about getting the information that they want super, super fast on mobile. And so like over the past 5 years, we see some things like responsive web design come up. We see websites that are just really, 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 really long. And if you've ever thought about that, that's because people just want to scroll on their mobile devices and they don't want to really click around. And certainly what they don't want to do is fat finger anything. And I think Messenger is really the next step to that, so that, you know, even if you think about from a marketing use case, forms that you'd have to fill out that have like a bunch of different fields, and you have to fat finger your email address, and is it Gmail or is it Gamil that you're really trying to type in? Well, really what you want is a way to know that this person is interested in your content, that this is a way to reach them, and have an open conversation, and that's what Facebook Messenger really allows you to do. So what if you just replace that form that you have on your mobile web and actually just start a conversation with them? And that's really what Facebook is really enabling small and medium, well, you know, any marketer really to be doing right now. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and one thing I'll just add on that is that in addition to Messenger, you know, one of the things that we've been launching actually this week, and so super exciting for me, is kind of an expansion of our we call our lead ads product, where instead again of, I know similarly have very fat fingers that totally typo every form I fill out manually, we have created a product here at Facebook that allows advertisers to be able to leverage the information that they've already shared, that a consumer has already shared on their Facebook profile. If you think about the vast majority of the forms that you're filling out on a website or on a mobile device, they're largely fields of information that you've already shared with Facebook to share with your friends and family. Name, birthday, email address, phone number. These are things that instead of having to type in tens, if not hundreds of times, you can actually just automatically, with our new Leads Ad product, be able to just confirm the information is correct and submit. So instead of having to go through and manually type in the information, where we've done research where the average consumer actually takes 40% longer to fill out the same form on a mobile device as a desktop. And as we see increasingly a movement to mobile, this ability to create a streamlined, facilitated interaction between a business and a consumer is only more important. And so as a consumer, it's a much better experience. And as an advertiser, you're ensuring you're getting kind of the full scope of people who are interested in your business. You don't have those people who are dropping off because they're frustrated with filling out a form. You don't have those people who potentially are typing in the wrong information, so you're not able to reach out to them. And so this is why we're really excited, especially with our work with HubSpot, because you guys have such a great footprint of businesses that really care about connecting with new customers, that really care about lead generation. And this new product that we've launched this week really makes it easy for a HubSpot user to, within their HubSpot platform, launch a lead ad campaign and start being able to connect with new customers and drive new business to their business.
And I just gotta jump in because this just launched yesterday, today.
I'm super excited.
And if any of you want to try it out, you don't actually have to be a paying HubSpot customer. You can just sign up for HubSpot Marketing Free, and it's available for anybody to check out and try. So give it a shot.
What I think that's really cool about like the new product, but also just like Messenger and like the concept of like native content within the platform, is that I think it just highlights for marketers and for salespeople and just for businesses that want to grow, like how important like the milliseconds are with like a consumer on mobile.
Yep.
Like we just find like the moment you take someone out of platform, whether it's to a website or to a video hosted on another social media platform, your drop-off rate like is over like 50% typically. I mean, how is like Facebook thinking about, I guess, like pulling more native experiences and content within their product?
Yeah, no, I think that's another great point of like, in addition to the fact that you have some of the fields pre-filled, you also don't have that lag, where we similarly find that, if you have an ad where you click on it and then you have to, load up a mobile site, you have a majority of your clients your consumers drop off. And this is like, I think, you can see this kind of across the board, is what we are increasing increasingly trying to do on Facebook, not only with our ads product, but in kind of all aspects of our product, is to make it an enjoyable experience for the consumer, where they're able to access the engaging content, they're able to connect with the right businesses, they're able to connect with their friends and family in a way that is really easy. Where we recently launched what we called our Watch tab within the app, where we're hopefully enabling this community of creators, this community of content creators that already exists, to make it easy for them to bring their content to Facebook. One of the things we're super excited about is that we already, the pivot that we've seen to mobile, which has now happened over the last 3 years, and I think people will say is now kind of happened. We are now seeing a similar pivot with video, where 2-3 years ago, you go through your feed and the vast majority of it was static image. Now when you go through your feed, and obviously especially when you go to our Watch tab, it is increasingly video, because as you see kind of devices improve, as you see connectivity improve, you're now able to bring that great kind of live action content to the consumer. And so we're trying to figure out, how do we make it easy for those content creators to be able to bring their content to our platform? Because we are very aware that we're not going to be able to do it ourselves. So we want to make sure that we are creating the right tools, both ourselves and again then with our partners, to make it as easy as possible for that content to be brought to our platform. So again, that consumers are having kind of the delightful experience that we want them to have on Facebook.
Brian, what percentage of HubSpot's content right now on Facebook is video?
I mean, it's got to be 95% of what we're producing. I think it's obviously creating the most value for users, because that's what generates the most reach and most views and most clicks, which is great. But I think the creation of video is still something that most marketing teams just aren't staffed for.
Yep.
And it's definitely a new skill that we're seeing, which we could go into so much detail on. One thing I'd love to get your thoughts on, which I'm really fascinated by, is obviously Instagram Stories has taken off and it's massive now, right? Most people are using that instead of Snapchat, especially in the business space. But that's been a feature on Facebook, in the Facebook core app for a while now, but no one uses it. All of my followers on Instagram, I'm sure, in Facebook, why don't they use it there? What are the insights there for how people use platforms?
So I mean,
doesn't make sense to me.
It is interesting, because I think it just reflects how people are often both users of Facebook and Instagram, and so people go to different platforms for different things, Anecdotally, I've had the very same experience where my Insta story feed just blows up constantly, where I don't have enough time to go through everything. Well, on Facebook, that's just not happened yet. And I think that goes back to what Dario was saying earlier, in that we are honestly testing things out, and you guys are kind of seeing it live as it happens, where story is obviously very attractive and has gotten had a lot of success on Instagram. So we decided maybe we should try it in Facebook as well. We're still figuring out if that is the right thing to be doing, and what can we do to potentially tweak it a little bit more than it is today, so that it does have a little bit more activity than you're seeing today. But I think one of the interesting things, especially for a company that has such a large footprint, a lot of the testing that we do, you guys see, because it's in the app. We obviously do some smaller scale testing before we launch it more broadly. But I think one of the things that is really unique about Facebook, at least in the large companies that I've worked in, is this willingness to try things out before knowing 100% that it's going to succeed. So that was a very long answer to, I think we're trying to figure it out as we speak.
So Ryan, you mentioned that 90% of HubSpot's content on Facebook is now turned into video.
Yeah.
And so maybe we're not quite in the shift of having our live feed happen yet on Facebook, but for someone who hasn't even started publishing video on Facebook for their business, what advice, what 3 tips can you give them to get started with video?
Yeah, I mean, I think the way I'd simplify it is that video for mobile and Facebook, and you would probably know this in more detail than me, but it's almost the opposite of what you learn at video school, right? So you learn to create stories that build suspense and a story arc, and there's this reveal at the end. Well, if you look at anyone that's doing Facebook videos really, really well, the first millisecond is almost the end of the video. And then they they capture your attention with the cliffhanger at the end, which might be a beautiful tasty cake or something, which I love. And then they'll show you it being made. But if they didn't show you that quickly at the beginning, you don't really know it's being made, so you would drop off. So I'd say, starting out with like the most important, the most shareable, the most controversial thing is probably one of the first things I'd recommend, which is I think where live video can be difficult because that's typically not always able to be done. So that's important. I mean, playing with, I think, dimensions of screen is really important too. So, kind of Snapchat introduced this whole like 9:16 format. And if you create a video like with your phone in a vertical format, if you're scrolling through Facebook, like it takes up the entire real estate of someone's Facebook screen. So you're not competing with like an ad above you or just an organic wall post below you. Like you've got their undivided attention. Now the content needs to capture their attention, obviously. And then I think like the third one I'd say is just like, it doesn't need to be super perfectly produced, the content. Almost like we see kind of like an inverse relationship with production and views and engagement. The more real and natural the content is, people seem to respond really well to that because it doesn't feel like it's branded content. It feels like it could be a friend.
That seems kind of counterintuitive. So you mean that the bigger the budget, the more you spend on making the video, the less impact it's going to have?
I mean, not necessarily. I think if you are spending that kind of budget or putting so much production work in, you need to think like a lot, I think, about like how you make sure that it's really engaging. And so some brands that do it really well are like, I don't know if anyone's seen like Purple, who like sell those beds on Facebook. I see like retargeting for that all the time, but their video, it's obviously really high production, but there's like very quirky elements in the video. It's set in kind of like, I think it's like, not Snow White, but like there's like weird thematic elements of the video, or the whole Dollar Shave Club video as well, right? Like that video looks like not super high end, but it's like one shot, it's this guy moving through a warehouse, there's like lots of things happening. So it's like been timed to like every second it's delivering another punch to keep you engaged. So I think it's just harder to do that with like highly produced content.
Gotcha. So basically you don't need to have a big budget to make great content.
No, I don't think so. I mean, there's like lots of platforms out there now that we partner with a bunch of them, like Animoto, Shaka, that help you kind of create like quick videos at a template, Adobe Spark even. There's a lot of great tools out there now. And that's good, I think, for like your 40% of your content, your daily stuff. And then you might want to do something a little bit more like Adobe After Effects for like the higher end sort of video content, perhaps.
The important thing is to be human, right?
Yeah, important thing is to be human and just to have a good story, right? Like it comes back to the tenets of inbound marketing, like know what your audience cares about and like tell them a really great, captivating story. Just like kind of give them the hook at the very beginning.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. So when thinking about human and also kind of thinking about my personal interaction with a messenger platform, that kind of feels a little personal to me to be on that platform. So thinking more about how a business can insert themselves into those conversations that were originally intended for like one-to-one communication. Daria, what insight do you have there for businesses?
I mean, as human as you can be, you see things like chatbots right now insert a few seconds of typing between that. And obviously it's a chatbot. It could, it could respond immediately. Like there's really no need to have
your attention.
a few seconds.
It's suspense, yeah.
But it really is a second of like, oh, it feels like I'm having a conversation with somebody as opposed to just having a like, I don't know, like a very bad conversation where there's no like person on the other end. And really thinking through all of the usage flows. I mean, I think one of the cool things that our marketing team did for this event, so a lot of you guys registered through Facebook Messenger, is that like there were GIFs in the Messenger flow, which was so cool. And that's just one of those small things that it just made it so human to see like, yeah, yes, we're doing this in an automated fashion. Yes, it has to scale to thousands of people. But no, we don't have to lose our sense of like being people doing it, having a sense of humor while we're going through that entire process.
And I think it's like being authentic to the platform you're in, right? Like Messenger is very much a one-to-one personal channel. It's going to evolve over time, absolutely, but it's very different to email, like at the moment anyways.
And I think just kind of re-emphasizing the point of thinking about all of the different use cases and flows, because I think there are, again, I hope like PR's not gonna kill me for this. There are scenarios that like actually Messenger doesn't make sense. Like where it's actually a very important situation where there's like a lot of sensitivity, where you need to know how to complement Messenger with the other channels that you've been using, from the day one of your business. And think about like how it actually can work very well with a phone call, with an email, with any of the other channels that a business may
in person,
yeah, and think about like how it can bring definite efficiencies and definite increased reach and definite more increased effectiveness for some scenarios, but maybe at some point knowing when to hand it off to something else, and really think of it as a full portfolio communication strategy as opposed to siloed different ways of connecting with a consumer.
Fascinating. Okay, so maybe I'm one of the only ones in the room right here who's like, bots? Okay, so what is the deal with these bots? We've talked about how we've leveraged bots to actually help with the registrants for this event, but like high level, like give me just like the like 2-second download of what a bot is.
That's me.
I'm just going to toss that grenade to the masses and see who jumps on it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, a bot in its simplest form is like an automated way to respond to some type of thread on Messenger, where you have kind of, depending on what the user has said and depending on what information you know about them, you can efficiently and effectively, without a human actually typing in a response, give them a large majority of their information that they might be interested in. This is really helpful in scenarios where you have basically the same questions happening time and again, the same types of threads, the same type, again, patterns of conversation that really don't need the flexibility and the human factor, quite bluntly, of a human, but rather can actually predict what is the right answer, what is the thing that the user actually wants to understand. I think the one thing that we have seen is that there's obviously a very wide range of quality of bots on our platform, of like really investing in making sure that it is a good experience for the user. I think it's definitely important to bring efficiency to your platform and to how you do lead generation or customer care, but at the same time you want to make sure that you're actually still bringing a good experience for the user. If you use a bot and the user gets frustrated because it doesn't have the right information and they're just kind of in this loop, I mean, not so much on Messenger, but I can think about my own experiences calling a call center, where the last time I cannot think about a good experience I've had calling an airlines, where like I actually just want to talk to someone to understand how delayed my flight is, and I'm just in this endless loop of computer generated talk tracks that actually isn't giving me the information that I need. So again, I think this idea of bringing efficiency is definitely important for businesses, especially as we see people moving to Messenger. But you want to make sure that you are, again, creating that great user experience so that they don't get so frustrated that they may actually defect from your business in the end.
I mean, and one of the cool things about bots is that you can incorporate a lot of information into how smart the bot is. Mm-hmm. So like one of the things for marketers that I'm personally very excited about is the integration with CRM. And so being able to say, like, when you start a conversation with the bot, to know that this is somebody who I have in my list of prospects, this is somebody who is brand new to my site, this is somebody who is a long-standing customer, is all going to change the way that I'm going to interact with them on the site. And that's what's going to make that bot experience not feel like the interaction that you have with an airline. Yeah. If you think about some of the things like, oh, we know that what an airline should be doing. Like, we know that your flight is in 10 minutes, and hey, we checked your GPS, say, we know that you're more than 10 minutes away from the airport at this time. Like, would you like to rebook? And make that super, super easy for the user. That's like the amazing use case, not putting people through the same rigmarole.
So Ryan, where is HubSpot evolving their usage of bots beyond just the registrants for this event?
Yeah, I mean, the marketing team is doing a bunch of different things in the bot space. I think like the syncing to CRM space is super interesting because Facebook obviously just is like such a wealth of data for marketers and businesses. I mean, there's so many use cases, I think, whether it's like creating a one-to-one connection for a sales rep, automating sales rep messages like you would do an automated sales rep email thread. I think it's like there's so many use cases. I think like where you just need to be like careful though is like not overcomplicating a bot and trying to create like a streamlined like process for where things can go. There's like a bot I was trialing just the other day, and it's basically like a news bot that looks at the like whether or not a news article is like lean to one political angle versus the other. But it's kind of like that's something that I prefer just to go to a website and like throw in a news article and see. Like the UI is something that I'd like to see visual like graphs of, so it doesn't really work super well. But then for conversational stuff like registering for an event, getting like NPS survey back data from someone, like trying to book a meeting, like that quick sort of fast stuff I think is great. The best like use case I've seen so far though, and it's not in a Facebook bot, but it was in a native app bot, was Equinox, the American gym. Like when you sign up with them, they'll put you through this like bot that like asks you like about like how fit you want to get, like the days of week that you work out best on. And it even asks you what I thought was amazing, like a motivational message to show up on your screen when you're snoozing your alarm in the morning. So like it like flashes this thing that you wrote that's really like, you know, dreamy kind of about like what you want to achieve with yourself. And like, there's no way to look at that and like to snooze because like the guilt just kills you. So like that was like an interesting thing, whereas I would have never filled that out on a website if I'd signed up for a gym and they were like, fill out this long survey. But the fact that I kind of didn't know where this survey was going kind of worked well for that. So there's so many use cases.
I think I need a bot to counteract that bot. If I snooze my alarm, then I ignore that first bot, then I need another bot to say like, no, really, get up, get out of bed. So for everybody who's watching remote, please leave your questions for our panelists in the comments. I actually have my phone. I'm not just looking pictures of my cute dog. I'm actually looking and crawling through to see if I can pull some questions from you in the audience. So another question that I have for you, your panelists is like, what's next for Facebook and for HubSpot together collaboratively? So I'll kick that off to Daria, and then maybe we'll just go down the line and have everybody take a stab at that question.
Sure. So what's next is there's a huge event coming up in Boston sometime soon. It's called Inbound. It's just kind of small. You know, only like over 20,000 people going to show up.
No, that's it. Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah. So some of the big announcements are going to be then, so I don't want to totally take away the thunder of that. But clearly, a lot of the things that we've been talking about, we've launched recently Facebook video, we've done emojis in the social platform recently, tagging people on Facebook, something that we haven't spoken on this panel, but is hugely important for anything co-marketing related. These are all things that have come out in the last few months on HubSpot. At Inbound, there might be some announcement, but I'm not going to say anything.
Was that a teaser? You just drop a teaser on us?
Yeah. And obviously, lead ads launched today, and there are going to be some interesting ads announcements as well coming up at Inbound. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've mentioned this already, but I think just because for us it is such an exciting partnership that launched this week is this, you know, the lead ads launch that we had. For us, you know, one of the biggest things that we hear from our clients time and again is not only the desire to connect with new customers, the desire to connect with existing customers, get additional data on them, which is what our lead ads product does so well. You know, by creating a fully native ability to get first-party information on users, you're really able to not only get leads at a lower cost per lead, but really getting the high-quality information at scale that almost every business is looking for. But the thing is like the lead is only the first step. And so we're really excited with our partnership with HubSpot is that you know, by launching your ads from HubSpot, you're automatically ensuring that those leads are going directly into your HubSpot CRM so that you can do all the, you know, appropriate follow-up so that not only are you generating leads, but you're actually generating leads that will convert, which is the thing that actually matters. And so, you know, especially, you know, in conjunction with some of the work that we've already done that we launched, which allows you to really understand the ROI of these campaigns and understand what is the real impact to the business, which is what we are very focused on at Facebook. You know, if you look back 5 years, you know, you would run a campaign on Facebook and you'd get like data on impressions and clicks, and you know, in the end, like a business doesn't usually care about that. What you care about is how it's going to impact your business. And we think, you know, lead ads is one step in that direction in that it helps you generate leads. But now with this new partnership that we've developed in HubSpot, we've made it really easy for businesses of all kinds in a really lightweight fashion, not only to generate leads, but to generate leads that are really going to convert.
Totally. I mean, we're using all of this stuff ourselves now as well. So I think for anyone watching that's like wanting really tactical and practical tips on how to do this, I'd say like follow and like our Facebook page, because we're going to be sharing all of the learnings that we're having from the platform and the optimization that we're seeing. We're also going to start rolling out all of the videos that we're doing as templates, so people can download them via our Facebook page and just use our templates for their videos. So similar to all of like the great ebook template content that we've got, like buyer persona templates, like budget templates, we'll have that all for our Facebook videos and like lead gen ad kind of like best practice templates. So hopefully people won't have to worry too much about like creating their own native video. We're going to try and help out a bit there.
Fantastic. All right, so some people have been leaving comments and questions for our panelists. So Doug, this one is actually for you. How would someone use this in the B2B space where personal, business, and emails are different? So I believe that this in this case is Messenger and potentially bots. So blending the two email addresses from work and personal.
Yeah, I mean, I think like it's no secret that Facebook is largely a social platform. What we have seen is that we've been able to get with the lead ad product, the email is going to pull whatever email that they've shared kind of on their Facebook profile. But you do have the flexibility to really ask very specifically for their work email. And so you can make sure that then you're getting that right information. And then by also additionally having the personal email, you can then also capture all the other information that might be relevant from their Facebook profile. You then can easily match that up to potentially a profile that they already have in the HubSpot CRM, so that you're able, again, to leverage these two sources of great information to create a much more fleshed out profile of the user or of the customer. In our mind, like that's one of the things that, again, is exciting about our partnership with HubSpot is that our strengths are in slightly different areas where a mutual customer can really be able to leverage kind of the benefits and the strengths of each of them to create the best understanding of a user and the best understanding of a customer, and then leverage either Messenger or any of the other channels that they might that a business might use to really, again, cultivate that relationship and hopefully turn them into a more loyal customer.
Fantastic. And I'll toss this one over to you, Ryan. So as a startup, what's the best way to market a product? And maybe what tools would HubSpot and Facebook recommend for that startup?
Oh, good question. God, that's a hard one. I mean, I think it really depends on like what it is that you like sell, to be honest. Like if you're selling a service, a product, an enterprise, or like a small mid-market product, it's super different. I think if you're like in like CPG, so like consumer packaged goods or fast-moving consumer goods, like Instagram can be a great like channel to start to sell that product, as well as Facebook. I think like there's obviously just so many variations, but without getting into the specifics, I just would say like really understanding your consumer and realizing that like the intent on social is really different to the intent on your blog, right? Like when someone goes to search on Google like how to do X, and then you've written a blog post about that to then move them through your funnel, there's like that direct response intent, like they're thinking and doing. Whereas like social is really about seeing and thinking. There's like less of an intent kind of like function there, I find. It's not to say you can't like drive that through ads and still get like really cost-effective returns, but from like native and organic Facebook in general, I'd say is like you're trying to go higher in the funnel to create content that like that person wants to engage with, even maybe when they're not in the like active buying of your product mode. So to put that into context, right? Like we obviously sell marketing, sales, software, and we have a lot of free different marketing and sales software as well. But like our content that does the best on Facebook, that still drives the leads and portals for us at the bottom of the funnel, is that content that's higher up, like how to get through like the work week from hell. Because like our buyer persona, like marketer salespeople, like they work in an office, like they all sometimes have bad work weeks. So it's really, I think, just like matching what the person is happening within their life and giving them the right content at the right time.
If I could just add on to that, I think two additional things I would add. I think one is also leveraging the information that you have, which I think goes back to the point that was being made of like understanding what it is that you're trying to achieve with Facebook and understanding who your customer is and understanding what your product is, and then leveraging information that you already have in them. So if you already have customers, use that to find more customers like that on Facebook. So we have a great product called Lookalike Audiences where you can upload And HubSpot has already built this into the platform where from HubSpot you can automatically upload your current customers. And since again we have, as we were saying before, such a massive footprint in the billions of people, we can figure out on our back end what are other people that look just like your most valuable customers and make sure that your ads are reaching them, who are, again, those people who are most likely to convert. And so leveraging that information that you already have to be able to inform your Facebook campaigns will make it much more likely that you are connecting with the right people and much more likely that you're actually then converting them into customers. The second thing I will say, and I think this is reflective in kind of how both companies work, is also the test. Often people will think one thing, and then when you actually launch campaigns, what you thought was actually the opposite of what actually drives the results that you want. And so making sure that you're testing everything, testing different forms of creative, testing different ad formats, testing the different platforms, and figuring out what is the thing that really resonates, because it really is very different for every business. And so making sure that you have the results and the kind of the formats that work for you is really the most important thing. And the only way you can do that is by testing it yourself.
And I'm going to jump on with one more thing, which is Facebook has a lot of reviews now on businesses. And if you're going to have a business page on Facebook, go to your top promoters, go to the people who are already delighted by your product, and have them write a good review. Because for the people who are there who are like, oh, well, let me just check out this company, like, see if it's any good, that's going to make a really big difference if they see somebody, especially if they see somebody who they know who's vouched for that product, and that can really help.
The other thing is, well, like MK, I think if you are a startup company that's like still trying to work out like product and market fit and understanding and evolving your products, one tool that I've like seen a lot of like startups use, and I forget the name of it, Doug, but it's I think like the ad format that lets you kind of create a canvas within Facebook. What's that called?
It's called Canvas.
Oh, yeah, sorry, cool. I've got it, I know it. So like the Facebook Canvas ad sets. And so what some startups will be doing is like they'll test different messaging. So there are different taglines in these like almost like Facebook microsite ads. And they'll like look at them like which like microsite tagline or colors convert into the most customers. And they'll use that data to then inform their designer to build their website, to build their tagline. So it's kind of nice, like taking the marketing space out of like subjectivity and into a little bit more objectivity. So, yeah.
You just gave some small startups some massive, massive growth hacks right there, guys. I want to thank each one of you for this incredibly, incredibly insightful conversation. You guys have educated me to no end. I just wish I had an idea with which to incubate all of these ideas. Excellent. So for those of you that have dialed in, thank you so much for joining us today. I just want to give you a heads up that this is day 1 of day 4 of our 4 days of Facebook. So tomorrow, this is the day that I have I've come to find that many people are long awaiting the Brian Halligan and Gary Vee conversation. So dial in at 2 p.m. to hear Brian and Gary Vee hash it out. Again, thanks so much to my panelists today. Continue to leave your comments if you have questions. We're going to be online and answering those questions even after we wrap today. Excellent. Thank you guys so much today.